Hey guys! Tonight we drift back into a world of stone courtyards, starlit rooftops, and loom rooms that echo with the soft thunk of shuttles sliding through thread. You're in Athens, old, sprawling, oddly quiet, and the air smells like warm linen and crushed olive leaves. Somewhere in the distance, a donkey sneezes. It's that kind of night. The moon overhead is lazy, brushing rooftops with silver as you wander barefoot down winding alleys. Not that you're supposed to be here. This is the kind of place you stumble into by mistake. Or by fate. Or both. Which tends to be how it works in stories like this. Behind shuttered windows, women weave by candlelight, threading silence into cloth. And someone, you hear, is weaving something too good. You probably won't survive this. By the way. Not because it's dangerous, but because ancient Greece wasn't exactly allergy friendly. And you're about to walk into a myth involving pride, punishment, and some intense textile-based competition. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, drop your location and the local time in the comments. Let's see where in the world this cozy myth is drifting off to. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You round a corner and pause. Moonlight flickers from a small stone house. No music. No talking, just the hypnotic rhythm of weaving. Something's happening here. Something people will whisper about for centuries. And at the center of it all? A girl named Arachne and a goddess with a very complicated relationship with admiration. But before we get into all that thread tension, let's talk about Athena. She wasn't born so much as exploded into existence. One day, Zeus, the allfather of thunder and questionable decisions, complained of a headache. Instead of offering him herbal tea and a nap, the gods took a more aggressive approach. Crack! From his forehead sprang Athena. Fully grown, fully armored, and probably already annoyed. And unlike most of the chaotic Olympians, Athena had range, strategy, wisdom, math, war, but with rules. She liked things orderly. No messy emotions. No impulsive behavior. She was the ancient equivalent of someone with color-coded binders and a sword in their purse. But what most people forget is, Athena also loved weaving. In ancient Greece, weaving wasn't a cute hobby. It was essential. You couldn't buy clothes from a stall or order throw pillows online. Women, especially in city-states like Athens, spent huge portions of their lives weaving everything their households needed. It was skill, identity, economy, and legacy. All in one. And it wasn't just practical. Weaving showed up in myths as magical and prophetic. There were the Moirai, the Fates, who spun, measured, and snipped the threads of mortal lives. There were temples with tapestries so detailed they were believed to be divine. Threads didn't just bind fabric, they bound reality. Enter Arachne, a girl from the town of Colophon, daughter of a humble dyer who worked with purple, the royal, expensive kind. But Arachne wasn't content with just color. She could weave patterns so fine, you'd swear they moved. Forests that rustled. Birds mid-flight. Silks that shimmered like rippling water. No teacher. No patron. Just talent. Pure. Stubborn. Jaw-dropping talent. People traveled to see her work. Some thought she had a gift from the gods. Others whispered maybe she was a goddess. Which would have been fine, if Arachne had played along. But she didn't. She said, calmly and repeatedly, that her skills were her own. No divine help. No hidden muse. Just fingers, thread, and focus. And that's where things got itchy. Because nothing gets under a god's skin like mortal confidence. Especially if that god happens to be Athena. Goddess of all things wise, warlike, and woven. So one day, disguised as an old woman in a dusty shawl, Athena wandered into Arachne's studio. Picture a long room with finished tapestries rolled against the wall, dyed skeins of wool hanging like rainbows, and one teenage girl calmly weaving something better than anything you've ever seen on Pinterest. Athena, leaning heavily on a stick, cleared her throat and said, "You know, child, you might want to tone it down. Maybe give thanks to the goddess who inspired you before you embarrass yourself." Arachne didn't even look up. "I don't need her help," she said. "If she's so great, she can come down here and prove it." Classic mistake. Athena flared, maybe a little theatrical wind for effect. and transformed right there in the room. The shawl dissolved. The staff turned to a spear. And her gray eyes burned like storm clouds over a battlefield. "I accept," she said. "Let's weave." The challenge was simple: 2 looms. 2 women. One unspoken rule: whoever wove best would win glory. The loser? Well, history rarely smiles kindly on the one who challenges a god. They worked in silence. Threads whispered. Dust danced. And slowly, images bloomed on the cloth like magic. Athena, true to form, went for something traditional. Her tapestry showed Olympus in all its glittery glory, tall gods seated on thrones, humans bowing obediently below. In the center, her own victory over Poseidon for the city of Athens. Strong lines, rich color, zero controversy. A polite resume in thread form. Arachne? She chose chaos. Her tapestry showed the gods behaving badly. Zeus sneaking around disguised as a swan. A bull. Even Golden Rain, which is somehow both poetic and gross. Apollo chasing women who begged trees to swallow them. Dionysus being Dionysus. It was beautiful, painstaking, and brutally honest. When they both stepped back, even Athena couldn't deny it. Arachne's work was flawless, and that's where it all snapped. For a moment, just one heartbeat of stunned stillness, you think Athena might nod, might even smile. A goddess recognizing a mortal's brilliance? It would have been a nice ending. But instead, the silence is shattered. Athena steps forward and, in a blur of motion, rips Arachne's tapestry straight down the middle. Threads scream as they're torn apart. Silk frays under divine fingers. The air itself seems to flinch. You blink. Wait. Wasn't this supposed to be a fair contest? But then again, Olympians don't exactly have a reputation for losing gracefully. They curse mortals who eat the wrong fruit. They hurl lightning bolts over wedding invites. So a god is flipping a loom in a fit of spite? Honestly, it tracks. Athena turns. Her expression unreadable, part fury, part heartbreak. Arachne just stands there. Her face pale. Lips slightly parted. She doesn't beg. Doesn't cry. Just stares at the ruin of her work. And then, she walks quietly to a rafter beam. There's a rope. It's a short, sharp moment. One that catches even the gods off guard. Athena rushes forward. Not out of cruelty this time, but something like regret. She halts Arachne mid-act. Not with a shout, but with a transformation. The rope turns to gossamer. The girl's arms shrink. Fingers vanish. Legs split and stretch. Her skin hardens. Her eyes gleam dark and strange. Arachne becomes the world's first spider. Tiny. Silent. Undeniably skilled. She scuttles away. Spins her first web in the corner of that ruined room. And doesn't stop. Ever. So yes, Athena punished her. But not entirely without mercy. Arachne keeps weaving. No loom needed. Just silk. Space. And instinct. Immortal. In a way. Unstoppable. In another. It's the kind of poetic fate only a myth could get away with. And if you've ever paused to admire the geometry of a perfect spider web, maybe, just maybe, you've seen Arachne still at work. Now, here's the part where things get delightfully messy. Historians still argue whether Arachne actually lost. Sure. She got turned into a spider. But was that a punishment? Or an upgrade? Some scholars believe the myth is a cautionary tale about pride. Others say it's a secret victory. Arachne bested a god and lived on forever. Her name whispered in every attic corner. There's even a theory that the whole myth was propaganda. Spun, pun intended, to warn clever women not to challenge societal norms. Ancient Greece wasn't exactly progressive. A woman smarter, bolder, and more talented than a deity? That's the kind of thing that makes patriarchs nervous. And here's your quirky tidbit for the night. Some old Mediterranean folk traditions treated spiders as sacred creatures. Little household protectors. They were left undisturbed. Even fed. Not just because they ate bugs, but because it was considered bad luck to interrupt their weaving. Call it cultural memory. Or just good pest control. Either way, you begin to notice just how often webs appear in your world. They're in more than corners. The word web gets around. Digital webs. Social webs. Webs of lies. Webs of fate. Threads connect ideas. People. Stories. We still measure our lives in the same soft metaphors the ancients spun into myth. Even the word arachnid remembers her. And so, You wander through the rest of the night with that in mind, how easily the bold get punished. How quickly skill turns dangerous when paired with honesty. And how, despite everything, some stories stick. You feel your footsteps slowing now. The alleys feel longer. The city quieter. Even Athena, somewhere high above in a temple of marble and shadows, is probably watching a spider build its web in the rafters and thinking, fine. Fair enough. A small nod. A little thread of respect. Because even gods can admit when someone's really good at their job. And now, let that final image soften in your mind. The tapestry room. Empty now. Dust motes catching the last threads of candlelight. A single, delicate web hangs from the rafters, perfect geometry. Spun in silence. Swaying gently in the night air. You step back slowly, feeling the floor cool beneath your feet. Every sound is quieter now. Even the looms have gone still, their shuttles resting like sleepy birds. There's nothing left to prove. Nothing left to weave, just the echo of skill, pride, and the soft rhythm of thread looping endlessly into space. Breathe in. Slow and warm. The kind of breath that settles deep in your belly and makes your shoulders drop. The kind that reminds you the world isn't held together by might alone, but by small, persistent things. A spider. A story. A thread. Let your mind drift wider. Beyond Athens. Beyond gods. Beyond consequences. Just the feeling of weaving, loop by loop. Fiber by fiber. Each line gentle. Purposeful. Inevitable. Your thoughts grow quieter. Your body. Heavier. There's nothing more to listen for. The myth has spun itself closed. No more duels. No more divine tempers. Just the hush of a sleeping world. So go ahead. Let go now. Sink into the stillness. Into the soft cocoon of night. The story will still be here in the morning. Or maybe it'll already be a web, stretching out from your dreams.